and welcome to the Bookyard. I'm Sam.
And I'm Kai.
How was your week, little buddy?
You know, it's pretty good, but I'm looking forward to this next week because I'm going to be moving and it's also finals week. And since today is our last episode of the season, I'm not going to be able to update you guys about how that went. So I'm going to pretend like I'm in the future. Moving went so good. It was so busy, and finals, I absolutely slayed my math final.
And Sam was so helpful when you moved. She lifted a heavy box and everything. It was so fun.
No, hold on. Crazy story, actually. So last time I moved, it was just me and Sam. And I didn't have that much stuff, but I do have stuff. Mm-hmm. And we were lifting boxes and Sam was like, oh, this box is kind of heavy. And she was carrying it. We had to carry it down an elevator out to my car.
Yeah, we had to wait for a minute for the elevator too. It was a while.
Yeah. And we finally get to the house and I start unboxing stuff. And I was like, dude, that was all of the books I own that you just carried. She just casually was just
it was really heavy.
Jim Burrow buff man.
I told Kai, when you are bred from from pioneer stock.
Yeah.
And you're just
the Canadian in you.
Yeah. It's the big Canadian ox in you. That's what my mom always says. She's always we're the human equivalent of oxen.
I love it.
It's just very fun.
So that was just a fun little tidbit about the last time I moved. But anyway, how was your week?
My week has been really good. I don't have a ton going on except I'm just learning my new job. And it's getting better every day.
Honestly, I love that.
It's amazing. It's so nice. I don't know if we've talked about it here, but at my old job where you are at,
RIP,
we had some Rachels at work that were a little bit hard.
Yeah.
And there were times where I felt I just had to be dumb Sam a lot.
Yeah.
Where I would get this blank look in my eyes and just kind of agree with what people said, even though I knew it wasn't what I just didn't have to use my brain a lot.
It's our favorite bit, but it's not really a bit. It's more about survival.
For sure. It's definitely a coping mechanism. When you're dealing with a difficult person, I don't know if other people do this, but I put on who I like to call Dumb Sam. And I really am just the world's most agreeable, whatever.
Yeah.
If someone's sitting there and being super passive aggressive and it's just well, yeah, because some people like to do this and I know they're talking about me, I can put on Dumb Sam and I can be yeah, that's so crazy. Yes.
With that impersonation, I know exactly which Rachel you were trying to get across.
I know. So it's very different right now because I'm learning this new job. There are a lot of new functions. There's a lot going on. So it's I have a lot less free time right now. But the more that I get into it, the more that I can picture my future and the more that I'm this is really something that I'm going to be good at. I know that I'm in a niche that I love and that I'm passionate about.
Yes.
And there are more and more things that I'm excited about.
Yes.
So I'm loving it. I'm so excited. And now I'm getting to the point where as I learn more about it, I'm ready for new challenges, which is so fun.
I'm just so happy for you. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. I'm trying to decide whether I should start learning a new language or whether I should take piano lessons.
Stop.
Or get a new degree or something crazy, right?
Not a new degree.
Side. It would be so fun.
Oh my gosh. Overachiever.
I don't know. I just constantly like to do some random thing. So I would love to do piano lessons.
You need to hand quilt.
I do want to do that. I do want something
Sam hated
more
that
tangible.
idea.
It wasn't my favorite. I really do want to quilt.
Whatever, you just hate me.
Yeah, that's probably it. As we were recording episode 18 of our podcast. Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of ideas, but I do need to do a bunch of stuff. Yep. So anyway, that was a very long-winded answer. The week's been fine. In this episode, we are going to go back in time. Buckle your seatbelts, guys.
Put them on tight. Pull up your pants.
Pull up your pants. Were they down?
They were.
Pull up your pants. We are going back in time to talk about our Pitch a Book books from episode 3.
So far away.
That was 15 episodes ago.
I can't believe it.
Okay, after we do that, we'll jump ahead to see what the future of this podcast looks like as well.
Yes. Okay, so in episode 3, what the idea was, go back and listen to it if you haven't already. But Giving you a second to do that. Yep. Okay, you're back. Awesome. Incredible. Welcome back. We're on episode 18. We seem so much more comfortable in front of the microphone. I know, it's crazy.
We've gotten so much better.
But we essentially found a book and we presented it to each other without telling the other person what it was called and just kind of pitched it to them. It was like, this is what it is. And then we talked about if we would read it or not. And then we kind of assigned ourselves to read what the other person pitched us. And then we would come back and talk about it.
Yes.
All right. So just a little refresher. I pitched to Sam Shark Heart by Emily Hebeck. And then Sam pitched to me The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer.
Yes. I thought these books were so fun. I thought the episode was so fun.
Oh, it was really fun pitching it too, just because we were trying to not oversell it, but at the same time be like, read this.
Absolutely. And I loved the like secretive aspect because we genuinely talk about everything.
Yeah.
Like if we haven't talked for a few, like, I don't know, hours, Kai will send me just like, hey, remind me what you're reading. And we talk about it.
Yes.
So it was so fun to like go to, in my case, I went to a thrift store, and in your case, you went to Poppy.
Yes.
And just walk in, choose a book that we were just like, okay, great.
Yeah.
And then go for it.
Yeah.
And read it in secret, not put it on Goodreads or Storygraph or anything else, and then have this fun moment. I thought it was such a cool, like, friend activity.
Yes, I think it was also I think it was also fun because this was at a time when me and Sam were consistently reading the exact same things. I think
since having like the same thoughts on a lot of the books we read.
Yeah, since then we've kind of taken a break and we read a lot of similar books specifically for the podcast, but in our own reading time, I think we really have done a lot different.
We have.
So, this was a time where it was good to kind of split off and have new thoughts about books.
Yes. So, it was awesome. I'm so excited about it. Let me jump in a little bit. Your pitch was for Shark Heart.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know like your original thoughts, how much you remember about like your pitch and everything.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
I remember I was so excited for my pitch because the way it was pitched to me at Poppy, I was like, this is perfect. So to give another little refresher here, it is about these two characters, Lewis and Ren, and it's in this dystopian-ish universe.
It's like a contemporary. It's literally like our same universe because there are some references of like Beyonce or some random things that you're just like, what?
Yeah.
But it definitely is like with a twist.
Yes, where in this world you can get a rare condition where you turn into an animal. And in this case, it was a shark. And so I just remember being so excited, but I also was really excited because this is a book that is so me. I don't know if you felt like that after reading it, and you can definitely share more about that. But I just felt like it was so like, oh my gosh, this is exactly my kind of book. It was about relationships and hardship and hard family dynamics. But I don't know. I just remember loving it.
Okay. I love that.
Yes.
I actually read this book fairly recently. It was probably about a month ago. And I definitely just had it on my list for a long time because the pitch that you shared with me originally, it definitely was like, wow, okay, that threw me off for sure. It was like one that I was excited about, but one that I was like having a hard time like picturing how it would look. And I definitely was like, okay, great. But I had so many pressing things like on my plate. And in my brain, pressing is just like things that I want to read really fast. But I had so many things on my plate that I was just like, okay, whatever. And I like kind of put it off for a bit. And then when I read it, I genuinely really loved it. And I loved it in not like a silly sense of like, wow, yeah, in this like cool alternate universe, you can like, instead of being diagnosed with cancer, you can be diagnosed with like turning into a shark or a rabbit or some kind of reptile.
Right.
Not in like that kind of silly way, but I didn't expect the like profundity of it, like how profound it was and how really was. Beautiful the relationships were in it. And I really appreciated it. So after I finished reading it, I was so excited. I started talking to my mom about it and I told her the concept of the book as if I were pitching it to her. And she had kind of the same reaction. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. But I think in the most surprising way, this book taught me so much about relationships and sickness.
Yes, and like how changing can affect those relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought about it a lot as if it were like a cancer diagnosis, right?
For sure.
Because that's the way it was treated in the book.
Yeah.
Lewis finds out that he is turning into a shark.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that it's going to be a fairly fast transition.
Yeah.
Within a matter of months, he will not be the same person. In fact, he won't be a person at all. He'll be a shark.
Right.
And Wren, who's had a history of this happening in her family, whose mother has turned into a reptile, gets this news again and has to watch the man she loves transform from this rational and positive and excited dreamer of a man into a legitimate shark.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And both of their lives are forever changed by it. I thought it was very interesting, the lessons that it taught without actually referencing any real like illness.
Yeah.
Because there's so much real grief in the book. I think that is so interesting because
absolutely
it's full of grief from the moment we find out, which is the very beginning, right? That Lewis is turning into a shark.
Right.
Their world is absolutely turned upside down, and every interaction they have is colored in grief.
Yeah. When you see even after they've gone their separate ways, you still see them trying to continue and move on and accept where they're at and just having to be like, this is what my new life looks like. But they still like will never forget one another.
Yeah. Well, and it's beautiful. I thought one of my favorite things in the book was how we can be grieving a relationship that we're currently in because of outside factors.
Yeah.
And I think that that's beautiful. And Wren had to go through that twice, right? And we see it from other people's perspective too. She has this casual friend who also has this in her family of her like unborn children. She's pregnant and like her unborn children are already in their transition to like becoming birds and like just the absolute grieving of a relationship that has meant everything to you while knowing at the same time that it will cease to exist soon was really, really almost kind of like reverent.
Yeah, well, and I'm just thinking about this now. I think that it was on kind of like a religious note. It was kind of a representation of the belief of afterlife and continuing to be a person and growing and meeting people even after you are no longer human. And I thought that was so beautiful because you see like with the unborn child and like her mom and her husband, like they change, but they're still growing and being themselves.
Yeah. Well, and I thought even if you took away the sickness aspect of the book, it was still such a meaningful concept to explore because of just the nature of how relationships are, right?
Yeah.
Like I think about relationships that I've been in the past, and the person that I was and that the person I was in a relationship with at the beginning of the relationship isn't the person that we end up leaving or
absolutely
like leaving behind, right? There's this moment where Lewis gets violent with someone because he's in the middle of this like transition and his instincts are just taking over. Right. And she had the same experience with her mom. But it definitely made me reflect on how so many times as human beings and in a relationship, we catch glimpses of someone that we don't know. And it's so scary. Yeah. So like the real emotions behind this book I thought were so beautiful, and I genuinely really loved it.
Yeah.
Do you have any like concluding thoughts about Shark Heart?
I think I would just conclude with saying I really do suggest this. I recently started a book club with a bunch of girls I don't know, and we were talking about what book we wanted to read first. And I pitched this, but I didn't pitch it in the way that I did to Sam. It was more of like, we should read this. I kind of explained what it was rather than being like, ooh, this is what it is, you know? And we didn't end up reading it, but one of the girls really, it resonated with her and she read it anyway. And she messaged me and was like, this book was incredible. Yeah. So I've only heard positive things about it and I would really, really recommend it.
Absolutely. It is an idea that in concept sounds absolutely ridiculous. It was perfect for this experiment in that it was a book that you pitched and were able to be like, what?
Yeah. But it was
absolutely
so
beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. I loved the book. And honestly, it was a completely different vibe from the book I chose, which is why I loved this experiment.
Yes,
as well.
It was so fun. Yeah. So let's kind of talk about your book.
Yes. So I talked about The Wishing Game. And this book, like I said, I legitimately walked into a thrift store and was looking for any book I kind of recognized. And the cover of this book really kind of just drew my eye because it's
cute.
a cover of a book, obviously, with a bunch of books on the cover.
A cover of a book with lots of books and books.
It's a lot of books, you know?
Yeah.
And I read the description and everything, and I was like, you know what, this sounds really fun. And it's one that I know that neither of us have read.
Yeah.
And for me, it was really nice because it was like a mystery for myself too. I didn't have anyone pitch it to me or anything like that. I kind of just went into it blind and hoped that it was something that would like be excited.
Yeah.
And be really fun. And I feel like it definitely was that for me.
Yeah. Okay. Give us a little refresher of what your book was about.
Yes. Okay. So this book was super fun. It's about Lucy Hart, who is like an assistant teacher. And her whole like exploration into making wishes and like making a difference in her like life, right? Like she's in a really tough spot.
Yeah.
She's trying to adopt this boy, but she's pretty poor and she came from a really hard background herself. And then she wins this contest that was like made up by her favorite author, Jack Masterson, I believe. And then she ends up going to like his island and being in a competition, and it's very fun.
Yeah.
And she falls in love with his illustrator, who is Hugo. And it's not like a romance in that like it's not super like explicit. It's not even like a closed door romance, but there's definitely like some like.
Do they even kiss?
They kiss at the
Once?
end. Yeah. Yeah. Like it's definitely like very fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved the book. I thought that it was really cute. It wasn't like a profound book for me, but it definitely was like worthwhile and like hopeful.
Yeah.
I think it was nice.
Yeah.
So after you read it, what's your reaction?
My reaction, I thought your pitch was good, but I wasn't like, this book is going to be incredible.
For sure.
And I went into it pretty open-minded, and I thought that it was really cute. It really resonated with that like inside of me that wishes I could be a school teacher.
Yeah.
That's not going to be a reality for me, and that's okay, but it kind of touched into that part of me where I was like, oh, I just love this, changing kids' lives. Like, it was just really cute. It was a cute book. It did a perfect, like, grumpy sunshine moment where, like, the sunshine ends up being sad and then the grumpy, like, makes her feel better. Like, it was cute without, like, intense romance elements, but it was also about, like, family and caring for one another while also having fun.
Yeah.
I thought it was just really cute.
One thing that I really liked about it is that it was fairly like formulaic. It was fairly predictable, but I was never bored. I was never like sad to know what was happening next. I was just kind of excited through the whole thing. Like,
yes.
Wow, this is just like very precious.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun that Lucy knew Jack from her past.
Yes.
And like Jack really cared for the people that he brought to the island. It wasn't just like a fun thing for him. He was getting older and he wanted to give back, and he knew these people and he really changed their lives, not only once when they were younger, but also when they were older, when they were in tough spots.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great.
That it showed him as a human being too. Like he like was struggling with like alcohol problems and motivation, and because he'd seen some really dark things as like a children's author, he got a lot of like, the premise basically was that a bunch of kids like ran away to his island as kids.
Yeah, to like escape abuse or neglect, like those kind of things.
So like he had run into so many things, but it was so nice to see the positive outcome of those like negative experience that they had. And I was like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, it was a really adorable book. I don't feel like I have any complaints. I don't think that it was the most incredible book I've ever read. Yeah. But I wasn't like, ooh, this really wasn't it, you know?
For sure. For sure. I think the experiment for me was very worthwhile, and I've already like, I just want to do it again. You know?
Yes, like I said, I think it was so fun that we went in such different directions.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to see what we bring to the table next. And I'm kind of been thinking like, ooh, what am I going to do? Like, do I have any ideas? How do you pitch it again? So I'm pretty excited.
Speaking of whether we will do this again or whether we would do this again, let's talk a little bit about season 2.
Yeah, I know that we have talked a lot about like wanting to continue, but right now me and Sam just have a lot on our plates, and I don't know that it's something we're going to do. We might like revisit it in the future, but it might just be more of a me and Sam reading together again because we don't like it.
Yeah, we hate this podcast.
Just kidding.
That was like a really long jump scare. I was waiting because I thought you were just gonna be like, we're not doing a season 2, and I was like, oh my gosh, what if people like stop and they're just like, they're not doing it, you know?
No. We just thought it'd be fun. Sam specifically was like, you have to do a jump scare, and I was like, okay.
It seems like something Kai would do, you know?
Which is so odd because I don't think that I would do that, but you were like, you would, and I was like, okay.
You would. I don't even care if you think you would. You would.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about season 2 then.
Yes. Let's jump in. We have so many very fun plans for season 2. You get some of the same and then some very new things, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
First, let's give you some very fun previews. We're going to jump into one of our very favorite franchises ever.
Ooh! Okay, wait. Are we saying what it is?
Yeah, we can.
It's Dune.
It's Dune.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Dune slaps my ass.
Dune is so good, and I know you've seen the movies. I
but
know
the books
you've
are
seen
better.
it, but the books are so good.
Incredible, profound, life-changing, all the things.
All of it. So honestly, if you have some time in the next few months, read some Dune books so that we can be on the same page when we come back here.
Yes, but not just like the main Dune books, because everybody always reads the first one and then they read the second one. They're like, the second one was so crazy, and then they just give up.
Yeah. So we will come back to Dune, and I will give you a very in-depth explanation of how I present everyone in my life to Dune. But there are some Dune purists who only read Frank Herbert's books, and that is totally fine if you are a purist.
Yeah.
I am going to just burst your bubble right now. We are not Dune purists.
No, we're kind of scandalous.
We are fans of the expanded universe.
Yeah.
And I am prepared for if men find this podcast
To beat them
to
up.
defend it.
Oh.
Or that. That's fine. Also, in season 2, we are reading more genres.
Yes.
Woohoo! We also have some very, very fun new releases that we are so excited about.
Yes!
This season, we got to talk about Sunrise on the Reaping.
Mm-hmm.
Next season, we have 2 books that we are so excited about. I have pre-ordered both of them.
Have you really?
Books. I have. The first is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig.
Rachel Gillig, my girl.
Gillig, you know her because she killed One Dark Window.
Absolutely destroyed.
It was such a good duology.
Yep.
And if you have seen the cover for this book that is coming out, you are already obsessed with it because it's beautiful.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. It could be about anything and I would just die.
But also Sam has a thing about knights. So she is
I
so
have
excited.
a thing about knights. I am so excited. If you threw any book in front of me and it had knights in it, I would pee my pants.
Why haven't we read more knight books?
We are reading more night books in season 2. Glad you brought that up because we're going to be there.
Okay, cool.
Then we are going to do the best and worst of Planted in Pages.
Oh my goodness. Wait, hold on. We forgot to talk about another.
Oh my gosh.
How dare you?
Wait, okay, our second release is the one I'm most excited about.
I know, that's why I looked down and I was like, what?
I'm dying. Okay, our second release.
I'm going to tell her.
Wind up. It's called Wild Reverence, and it was written by none other than Rebecca Ross.
Becca J!
Becca J! It is in the world of Divine Rivals, which, okay, crazy. We're going back to a universe? That's nuts.
That's insane. I'm so excited because I just love everything Rebecca puts out.
So we're going back there.
Yes.
Into the universe.
Yes.
And we are going to lose our minds. I'm so excited. That one should be coming out in September.
Yes. But let's jump back to what you were saying before. Sorry, I just wanted to be like, we had to cover that.
Back in time. We are going to do the best and the worst of Planted in Pages.
Yes.
And let me just tell you, we're in the middle of this right now. We're currently reading these already so we can get prepped for next season.
So good.
I'm dying. Like, you are going to absolutely lose your minds for
It's good.
the best of the best there.
They set us up.
They set us up, and they did it in such a different way than Poppy. Poppy we did 2 different genres. We did 2 different, completely like different themes. And these guys said, no, we're staying on one theme, and you're going to love it. And then you're going to hate it. And it's, they delivered. We are so excited about it. Shout out to Planted in Pages.
They honestly have been like checking up and being like, why did you read
they killed it. First? They texted me last week. It's fine. So anyway, after that, we're going to do some previews. Let's just preview a few of the series that we are going to jump into.
Yep.
First of all, Belladonna.
I call it Bella's Donuts.
That is true. So get on board. It is really good.
It is really good.
We're going to talk about Scythe.
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah. Sci-fi series and Dune. Other sci-fi series.
Oh my gosh.
We have
sci-fi.
2 sci-fi series this season. Yes. And then no spoilers. We are also going to talk about The Wolf King. I'm not going to say anything else except that I'm so giddy about it. We're going to talk about it.
So exciting.
Indie published? Hell yeah. Wolves?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Are we venturing back into the Omegaverse as a group?
Hell yeah. Not really.
Is there any nodding?
I sure hope not. I haven't seen any. Have you?
No, none so far. And I'm really glad about it. I was not ready for that.
Nah.
Then, okay. We're going to also, next season, deep dive into a few of our favorite ways that books work.
This is a scientific theory that we've been working on. I'm so excited about it.
For months.
Yeah.
You've heard us talk about how we have a hard time with villains. We want them to be motivated. We want certain things from a villain.
Yep.
So, season 2, we are going to talk about what makes a villain. What makes a good villain.
Yes.
And then we also have this whole little subplot where we have other ones we can do. So we might do what makes a good sidekick, because we love our side characters.
Oh, we absolutely do.
And we may even talk about what makes a hero, what makes a main character.
Maybe also what makes a good mentor.
Yeah. Ooh, they're so fun.
So
we are so excited.
Season 2 is not going to be lacking in scientific theories.
No.
Don't even worry.
But don't worry. You still have time. No, seriously, don't worry. I know we've said that a few times.
But for guys, don't worry.
But really, prep yourself. Don't worry. Don't worry. You still have time. If there is a book or series that you want us to cover in season 2, comment, send us a message, text me if you know me, FaceTime me.
Hit up Planted in Pages for our number.
Planted in Pages knows us. You could go there, leave a message with them, like a sticky note, then we'll go there.
Pick it up.
You could hire one of
Carrier
those airline riders, you know.
Pigeons?
Carrier pigeons. Pigeons.
That's not what I meant.
Honestly, you could just stick books in any of the local thrift stores that I go to,
and I'll get it.
And I will find a way to do it. So give us your best suggestions, and we will try to include them in season 2, because we are so excited for season 2. Get hyped.
Yes.
And then settle down, because we're not coming back for a minute.
But before we say goodbye for 2 months of vacay, we wanted to follow up about our goals for the podcast. So I don't know if you guys remember, also in the second episode, before we started, we were like, these are some goals we have for 2025 reading, and we're making sure to check in and being held accountable for those. Like, we're not just being like, peace. So
absolutely,
a little check in here to kind of give you guys an idea of where we're at. It is currently the end of April, and I have read 25 books so far this year. And my goals, I wanted to be reading more historical fiction or history books. Unfortunately, I have not done that, but honesty is a policy. Mm-hmm. So I still have 8 more months to get that done.
Time, girl.
I got some. But I also wanted to read more like diverse books. I kind of talked about. And I actually did read a medical book, which was really good. It was interesting. So I kind of have branched out. We've talked a lot and read a lot more of contemporary fiction. So yeah, I do feel like
genre hopping a little more
I
than we
am
were.
More romance as well, which is kind of what started me. So I'm kind of jumping around. And I also wanted to decenter men in my literature. So out of the 25 books that I've read, 24 of them have been written by women.
Hey. And they have been good ass books.
Yeah, they have. No complaints.
World class.
Yeah. Oh, fist bump.
I thought she was trying to fist bump me, and I was like, oh no, I let her down. So I paused mid-talking.
I was just like snapping, moving with my hands.
No, she was devastated that I didn't fist bump her.
I almost cried. But
don't worry.
Check in with me about your goals.
Yes. We actually, this is so interesting because we're never on the same like wavelength here,
No.
but we're pretty close.
Yeah,
I
actually.
have also read 25 books this year.
Yes.
One of my goals was to read fewer books written by men, and we talked about that and kind of like established that together, which is amazing.
Yes.
I have read 22 of the 25 books I have read this year were written by women. So I'm really satisfied with that number. I had told myself that I wanted to have at least 75% of the books that I've read written by women, and I am far above that.
Yes.
So I am thrilled with it. So excited. One of my other goals was that I wanted to read 3 books in Spanish. I haven't done that yet this year, but I do have some options.
Yes.
I have quite a few books from my bachelor's degree.
Okay. Pull out that degree, girl.
Heck yeah. This isn't going to make a ton of sense to everybody, but I am hoping to read Los Recuerdos del Porvenir. And that one's really very cool. It was one of the ones that I did my thesis on, so it will be a reread for me.
And super easy to pronounce also.
Yes, absolutely. That is one of the hard parts. I struggled with like, do I just straight up say it or like whatever?
Wait, say it like a white person.
Los Recuerdos del Porvenir.
Sam's husband hates when she does that. I think it's hilarious.
It was written by Elena Garro, and she is amazing and completely underrated. There was this like big group of like male authors at her same time, and
Classic.
she released this beautiful like contemporary, it was just like a gorgeous novel.
Yeah.
And she really just wasn't included in this movement, which is what my like bachelor degree thesis was about.
Yeah.
And I really loved it the first time I read it. So I am hoping to read that here in the next little bit, which is great. I haven't picked out the other ones yet. So
yeah,
we're still going. We've got months left.
You have 8 months left.
That's fine. Then my third goal was writing more detailed reviews of the books that I read. I was really, really, really bad at this last year.
Yeah.
And I would honestly just put like the amount of stars, and then I just had such a hard time like putting my thoughts into words. And this year I've been doing so much better.
You have. It's been so fun to see what you think, because obviously we talk about it, but sometimes what you tell me and what you put on there is a little bit different. So I'm like, ooh, like what is she going to put on here? Because low-key people be judgy sometimes. So
people really do be judgy. People really do. And then I was
people really do.
Wait, what do they do?
Wait, huh?
No, I definitely have been a lot better at it. There are a few that I feel like I have to go back in time and write things about.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that I can go even more detailed the rest of the year, in that I'm hoping as I get more time, I can go in and write like full paragraphs.
Right.
So I can just know what I read.
Yes. Okay. I love that.
So I'm really, really loving it. I'm loving our goals. I know that we didn't write this down to talk about in this episode, but we had also mentioned that we really wanted to do or have at least one guest on this podcast for this season.
Oh my gosh.
We didn't do that this season at all.
I forgot.
Honestly, I think we got kind of middle of the season and we were still talking about it. And then everything kind of just went so crazy with our lives that we were just like, we're getting through it with the episodes we've already planned.
Yeah, I also had debilitating depression. So
debilitating.
But I did, for real. So
no, it actually wasn't that funny. It was
actually real. So I think that we're just moving forward, we're going to kind of plan better and have better expectations, because, you know, this is our first season. We're just kind of figuring out along with you guys. So I think we learned so much. And part of that learning is that I'm really not a person from like January to beginning of March. So being better prepared.
And I think we're going to try to do it this next season. I don't know that it's going to be like our first priority because we have so many very fun episodes.
Yeah.
But if we find the perfect fit for like a person to interview on our podcast, we'll do it.
Yes. I don't think that we're going to be like scoping them out and being like, I need to find the perfect person. But if somehow someone comes along and it's like, you would be great and have great insight, I think we're so open to it.
Rebecca Ross, if you're listening.
Becca J, get your ass over here.
We really need you on this podcast because we love you. And that's the only reason.
I think we would cry.
I genuinely think we would cry. Can you imagine Rebecca Ross like,
just
being
casually
like,
being in here?
Yeah.
We'd have to crazy. Like rent like a studio or something.
I think we would probably have to do it over like Teams or Zoom or something. Teams.
We were like recording with Becca J and she's like, what is that bed behind you guys?
This is Sam's room, girl. We are really prepared.
Yes.
And clearly wealthy because we record in my bedroom.
Hey, it's classy.
It's very fun. So yeah, we are working on that. We just really haven't found the perfect fit.
Yeah.
I think that if we find one, we are going to be there for it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Do you have any closing thoughts about this season?
My goodness. Like I was just kind of saying, it's been such a learning experience for the both of us. I have had so much fun and we've come so far. We were actually talking about this today. If I was thinking I should listen back to our first episode because I'm sure we were just so awkward and uncomfortable. And I just don't ever get anxious now coming on. And it's been so fun. And I know that we were kind of like, oh, are we going to want to do another season? And there has not been any doubt in my mind. I've been like, I 1,000,000,000% want to do this.
Absolutely. I would echo the same thoughts. I think that there were so many times where I was a little bit almost embarrassed that we were like starting a podcast. And I was like, I don't really want people to know about it. I don't really like I haven't told anybody really in my life about it except for like, you know, my mom and my obviously my husband because this is our room.
Hey, Becky.
I have like microphones like
hey,
in
Laura.
my room.
Sorry, I'm just shouting out the two people I know listen.
Hey, you two. So Becky actually hasn't listened to like the last 5 episodes because she's just been busy. And she was just like,
your mom hates us.
I've let you down.
Laura, we know you haven't though.
No, Laura's here. I love Laura. Anyway, love you, Laura. No, but I definitely feel like at the beginning we were really nervous. I was especially very like a little bit embarrassed about it. I thought it was kind of dorky and like something like classic that I would do for sure, but it was definitely like I don't know how long that's going to go for, but it has been such a positive experience. It has made us branch out in ways that I don't think we would have if we wouldn't have had like this other factor
for
in
sure
our reading.
For sure.
And I think it's taught us a lot about reading as like a community event, which I think is very fun.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited for season 2. Really hoping that I can be way more prepared.
Yes.
I can be deep dive Sam next season where when I'm going to come into it and you're going to hear some things you've never heard before.
Oh my gosh. And I'm going to work on being Blurb Kai.
Blurb Kai.
I'll practice reading out loud.
Oh, that would be so fun.
I'm just sitting in my room. And then he...
Oh my gosh. Anyway, season 2 is going to go real hard.
Yeah, it is. That's what she said.
I'm so proud of you.
Well, if you guys liked today's episode, you're in luck. We have 17 episodes before this that you can listen to. And we'll be back July 21st, and we'll be posting every Monday after that. But if you need to get your fix until then, we will be posting on social media. I'm not gonna lie to you, I've been the worst social media girl recently, but
so have I.
Now that school's over and I'm like getting my life back on track, we're gonna be so much better. So I guess we'll see you guys then.
This is really sad.
I'm devastated.
I'm happy and sad.
Yeah.
We're done season 1 and we are so excited for season 2.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much if you have listened to our podcast here in the last few months.
Yes.
It has been so fun. I loved any comments / the one comment we've gotten, any in real life comments that we've gotten, which we've gotten quite a few of.
Yes.
We love reading.
Yeah.
And we're so excited to keep you on our fun reading journey and our friendship.
Yes. Friends forever.
We love you.